Jury selection set to begin tomorrow in the trial of the president's son, Hunter Biden, a long-awaited court date that could have significant political implications. Now, the younger Biden in court facing 3 federal charges related to gun possession. Prosecutors say he falsified forms while purchasing that gun, allegedly lying about his drug use on the form. If convicted, the penalty is listed at 25 years in prison, but most people are saying he'll get off with a much lesser penalty. Hunter Biden also will be in court in September after failing to pay over $1.4 million in taxes. And speaking with NewsNation's Elina Shirazi, she's been on this story for us. We talked this afternoon. Elina, Hunter Biden is in court tomorrow. How is the trial expected to proceed?
Adrienne, nice to see you. Well, we know that Hunter Biden will head to court tomorrow, where the case opens with jury selection in Delaware. We know that it could last up to 2 weeks, but this is how it all started when his brother's widow, whom Hunter Biden had a romantic relationship with, found the gun in Hunter Biden's truck and drove it to a grocery store to dump it in a public trash can. So all of that led to this moment right here. So Hunter Biden was indicted on 3 gun counts, which we know could be punishable by up to, as you mentioned, 25 years in prison, although we know that first-time offenders usually don't get anywhere near that max time. And whether or not the judge would actually give Hunter Biden time behind bars in jail if he were to be convicted, well, that's still unclear at this time. But we know that the younger Biden has acknowledged an addiction to crack cocaine during that period of time when he inaccurately filled out a form about his drug use to buy a gun. His lawyers, however, said he did not break the law and that the case is politically motivated during this election cycle. We know that Hunter's lawyers have also suggested that they may argue that he did not see himself as an addict when prosecutors say he checked no on that drug use question on the form that he filled out. Adrienne.
Elina, the President Biden, has he said anything more about his son Hunter's case?
Well, Adrienne, President Biden has said really the same thing time and time again. He denies knowledge or involvement in his son's business dealings. He sort of separated himself from that, but not his son. He says he's proud of his son's recovery from addiction, but obviously this is something coming at a very pivotal moment in time for Biden's campaign. As we inch closer and closer to November, the spotlight really is on him as well as his family here, but he's really refused, again, to shut his son out. Most recently, they were actually both spotted together on a bike ride at a church in Delaware, likely their final quiet moments ahead of all the drama that is sure to unfold next week.
Our thanks to Elina Shirazi. We have criminal defense attorney David Katz here with us right now. You've served as a U.S. attorney. Tell us how serious these charges are. I mean, there's already rumor that President Biden, if reelected in November, is going to pardon his son, no matter what the outcome is. How likely is that to happen?
Well, I agree that that's likely. I think any father with the ability to spare his son imprisonment especially would either pardon him or commute the sentence so there wouldn't be prison. I think if the shoe were on Trump's foot and it were his son who were about to go to federal prison, that Trump would have pardoned his son too. I do think that he's going to be convicted.
Okay.
I said this during the Trump trial too. I think people need to brace themselves for the fact that there's not a lot factually to argue about to the jury, and I think the jury will return felony verdicts against Hunter Biden on these counts.
But in terms of the sentencing, I think that's what people are really paying most attention to. How harsh will the sentencing be for the son of a sitting president?
I don't think it's because he's the son of a sitting president. I don't think that he's going to go to prison any more than I think that Trump is going to go to prison in his New York case. This was all a long time ago. It was nonviolent. The gun was never used in any violent or improper way. As you reported, it was thrown out less than 2 weeks later. And of course, you know, I think the facts will be there that Hunter lied on the form. He'll argue that what is an addict? That's too vague. It's too speculative. You know, people don't define themselves as addicts. But the form also said, was he unlawfully abusing drugs? And it seems to me very clear this wasn't marijuana. The drugs that he was abusing were clearly unlawful. He was unlawfully abusing drugs. And that's why, Adrienne, I predict that the jury in about 2 weeks' time will return guilty verdicts against him in this case in Delaware federal court.
Thank you for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find News Nation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of News Nation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.